I've never had such an addicting square in all my life. The first thing we need is an output. That's where all of our coins are going to go. Next, we need the factory that will produce the coins, and we drag in between them, and now the coins are going to be produced and drop into the hole, making us money. We can spend that money on more factories to produce even more. Now they round up to 2, and we can zoom in. It's going to be a very mathematical day. So that cost $16 that time. This one's going to cost $32, but the coins are going to combine into 4 by the time they drop into the hole. I can also just straight up upgrade them as well, $25, and that's going to be producing even more. It now produces us $2, next time is $3, and then production multiplies. And it's cheaper to do this than buy the $64 next one of these, so we'll do that. Now production is up to 8. And it's going to be fun to see the size of numbers we can make. Central produces the sum of the production of every touching factory in non-diagonal tiles. So if I'm understanding that, I could put that there and we could bring it there and then in like that. So yeah, it's getting 2 and 2, so it's producing 4. So you want to surround that with the good stuff. There's going to be a lot of math and thinking involved today. Alright, well we quickly made $424, so upgrade that one and that one. Now this is producing 6. And if we upgrade this, it will not only touch the horizontal touchers, but the diagonal ones as well. So this could be a big earner. I'm not sure I can move the output, but I kind of regret not putting it over here now. So we got more room to make multipliers. For now, this gets a $75 upgrade. That gets a $75 upgrade. And we'll go ahead and slap that there. That goes up to 75. So now we're getting 20 per coin, 21 per coin. So at this point, I think it's worth it to upgrade that for $400 and this one for $400. These are producing 6 by themselves, so these are producing 12. So now by the time the coins make it all the way in, they're up to 33, and we still got lots more we can do. So if I want to make a better version of that, I would need to place it, say, here and then surround it on all sides with tiles as much as I can still have an outlet. So we'll try and figure out how we can make that work. We can't really use jumpers or whatever here. This is producing but into nowhere essentially. So we'd actually have to move these around or put it that way so that they go into there. Well, the coins over here are essentially going nowhere so far, but we got so many lanes over there that it's hard to justify like adding more. But that's probably exactly what we're going to have to do. We'll go up here and then in. But we're going to upgrade this, so it's going to go from tiles from all directions, so that can go that way. And then we're going to put one here that's going to go that way. And you know what? We might just put one more of those here, and then we can use a jumper to jump over. I don't know if that makes sense, but $25 there, $25 there, 25, 25, 25. Now we could do 75 because we're getting pretty rich from all this, and that's going to make our blue one produce 12 already. While we're at it, we're going to do $400 upgrades for these, as many as we can afford, and that's going to give us even bigger value now. That produces 36, 69 by the time they make it in. That was only for a single tile. They jumped up to 81 after that. So I put a jumper there. This is going to output that way. That way it can jump over just like that. So now this can get upgraded a whole bunch of times. Now this thing will produce 42. I think the accelerator is going to be a big one for 3000. Adds $1 production every 5 cycles to the facing factory central. I think that means like if I put it here, it's going to add value to this. Just the longer it goes for, the more it's going to add. And if we put a $1,500 thing on there, it's going to increase to $5. And that's going to have a multiplier effect on it. So it's 24 by itself. And that's going to play off of this one as well. This one's also interesting. Park. Every touching factory from all directions gains 30% production. Given it's only $300, there's a few spots we should easily put these. Even if it's just like right here for now, we can even just put one of these in here that dumps into here for a sec, because that's just easy, quick value. But given that that's 30%, we probably want a better home for that. Like we should actually take this one away and take that one away and rebuy it and put it over here, because it needs to be touching bigger things. 30% on some of these is going to get big. For now, I'm going to add another park here for 600. That's going to boost this one up to 123. The next upgrade for this is going to cost $20,000, so that would take it from $5 to $10. Instead of that, we're going to spend $1,500 on a few of the cheaper ones, at least to get their value up a bit, which is going to help this one still go up. But actually, instead of this, for $15, we should really just put one of these for 30%. That should have a bigger effect. Actually, it didn't. Maybe my math there is wrong, or I'm misunderstanding how this one works. But that one's producing 356 now, plus I can upgrade it for $5,000. That should double it, so it's now 560 per token. So I'm curious again, if I take that one away, it was 28.5 and put the park there. That's somehow not worth it. I don't know where that 30% adds to, but it's on more of a base statistic. So we're going to put that one back on and then re-upgrade it again. I also need to increase the base production of this. It's a 183. If I do that, it jumps to 344. So now this one's producing ones over 1,000 for purple tokens. And I really should be using an accelerator more because it's going to add one value to something near it forever and ever and ever. So we'll put one here and that's going to point downwards. And that's going to point to that. So this one's going to endlessly get upgrades. We'll give it a bit of a head start. We'll give it up to a $1,500 upgrade. It's already putting 24 out. And that's only going to get bigger and stronger from the accelerator behind it. Maybe I should actually put a second accelerator on that for a little while. Does that only work with one? That should work with both of those. While I'm at it, I should add a park over here too, because that's going to add 30% value to that. So that's just going to be a big helpful number for us. We already made $140,000 without really trying. So I'm also going to upgrade this for 80,000. That's going to add one production every 3 cycles instead. So that thing's going to get big fast. I'm probably going to do the same over here because this thing can just get really stupidly big. The tokens are still hitting 2,000 right out of this as they go in. So that's super easy money for us. I'm going to upgrade the value of this one as well, 20,000. Yeah, if I was smart, I would have put the whole like up here and put like a single track running somewhere like that. That way I could just build giant multipliers up to it. I forgot about my original ones too. So we're going to upgrade those up to the $1,500 level. And that's going to make this one a little bit happier. That one's kind of a useless one here for now. It's adding a little value, but not much. But the tokens are combining for 3,000 in the center now, so we're up to about 2,500 per second. Yeah, I sort of like what's going on here. I maybe could have built that one more over, but we can sort of build the same thing again, because I could put 3 accelerators and an overclocker. Every 5 cycles make the targeted run 3 cycles at once. Okay, so you'll go down into that. And then we're going to put an accelerator right there, and an accelerator right there. And that's going to feed this one a lot. Plus, we could put some jumpers around it. And an investor adds $1 production to every factory central every 5 cycles. So we could just let that run for a long time and it would break eventually. But I'm also going to spend $80,000 upgrading the accelerator and $80,000 upgrading the other accelerator because this one's already up to 14 whatever value. And if we give it some upgrades there, it's now up to 125. This one over here also needs that. So this one's producing 790 at a base value already. But this is where the central would be better because the central can absorb everything around it and multiply. Like for 60,000, we can upgrade it. So it's now went from 2,100 to 4,300. But now by the time the tokens hit the center, they're 7,000 each. So while all that's happening, I'm actually going to undo the entire factory over here and try and think about a better way to do this. Well, I guess I could put a central here because that's going to feed off this one, which I accidentally just upgraded. So it's giving 1,000 already because it can just deposit straight there. That actually added a lot of earnings to us. We're up to about 10,000 per second. While I'm at it, I should probably just put a park over here and over here. So that one jumped up to 1,800. So yeah, the earnings just went up again. We just saw a flash of 15,000. So in a perfect world, we'd have maybe 2 things here. We got to find a way to get those in. What we can potentially do is take the long way. I don't know if this is going to make sense, but we're going to try and make it make sense. So they're going to go that way. This is going to get deleted in a sec because I need an overclocker touching this one and whatever else I can to add value to that as well. $80,000 should upgrade that. The beauty of this game is it's just going to work. Like no matter what we do, we're adding value anyway. I'm just going to go 3 accelerators on this one, or maybe that's only 2 accelerators ultimately, but that's okay because that one's getting 3 times these guys, which are going to go up in value to $20,000 level. This one, the combiner is also going to go up to the $60,000 level. It's outputting 13,000s at this point, which is actually our strongest thing, and that only took me a second to build. And then our accelerators are also going to get upgraded. That way this one gets upgraded a lot. We'll spend $400,000 on that. That's going to be worth it because that thing's going to go bananas after a while. We'll put a park beside it as well to increase its value. So up to about $30,000 a second. So we'll let this run for a minute while I ponder how to do this even better. Well, I did just hit $1 million, so I might as well put the investor down. And that's simply just going to add value. So the investor adds $1 every 5 cycles, whereas the overclocker can make the cycles happen faster. I gotta click around every once in a while to see what I can easily afford to upgrade. Some of my parks are getting pretty big value, so I might be wise to upgrade some of them. So it would increase 20% production. It is 2.5 million, but it would feed that one quite a lot. Well, we'll do the $200,000 upgrades for these ones. That way it'll increase the value of these guys a lot. That's a $12 million upgrade, so we're not going to do that. 200,000 upgrades are easy now. Even the $400,000 upgrades for some of these base ones seems like a really easy choice to me. So up to almost 80,000 per second, maybe even 100,000. I'm just going to add another contributor thing here. And then we're going to maybe just put an overclocker on that like that. And then that's going to increase in value thanks to that thing. So we'll increase the value to the $400,000 level and let it go. Yeah, we made $11 million. That means I can upgrade this thing, so multiplies total production by 10. This thing's gonna go crazy. That was already producing a lot, now it's up to 180,000. So our earnings are about $250,000 per second. Every 4 seconds we get a cool million. I'm also gonna add another investor. Actually, we're gonna add 2 investors because those are just gonna add value every cycle. And our original investor is getting a $5 million investment itself. So every 3 cycles it adds $2. Eventually, once these values do get big enough, because they're sort of trickling upwards one at a time, we could delete everything around it and slap a bunch of parks, and that's going to add 30%, 30%, 30%, 30% to what's already like trillions. Okay, another investor is getting a $5 million upgrade, and so is our third one. While we're at it, we can actually put a jumper tile here, facing downwards, and then we can delete this one, and put another investor there. They're getting expensive. This one's $8 million. But we can afford that, and then we can even upgrade it. We want this one, adds 1% production to every factory every 1 cycle. So if the numbers are already big, that's just going to grow exponentially on itself. So I'm not really sure what happened down here, but we can go ahead and delete that now. We can put something in here. Like maybe an investor. We can't quite upgrade it yet, but we're up to $500,000 per second. So yeah, now we can afford it. And that's a good point. We really should put investors everywhere we can, and we can jump tiles everywhere. So we could put another investor down in here. As soon as we can afford it, it's 32 million at this point. But they add that long-term value that we all need. And they're going to be adding tons of value soon enough. And I freed up a few spaces using the jumpers. We basically have very few conveyors anymore, except for where I did stupid things earlier. And $5 million for my new investors. I think that's got them all covered. I think at this point, I'm also maybe going to take away this thing to add an overclocker to this guy. Because if we upgrade it for 12 million, that means every 5 cycles makes a targeted tile run 10 cycles at once. So that'll give us a boost to income, but also increase its own value. I know it works off of the value of those around it, but its own value too can also go up, I believe. But since we have so much money, we're getting a $12 million upgrade for that one, and that one, and that one as well. That way this thing can also go up stupidly big. I guess the parks for 2.5 million, even 7.5 million might as well be done, because that's going to increase the value. That's up to 50,000 by itself. So the blue tile over here now is now producing 1 million. Wow, that jumped up to 12 million because that one went off 10 times. This one down here also needs to go up. That jumped up to 500,000 by itself, and some of the ones around it are also probably going to get a nice boost. The parks are going up to 7.5 million, so this one jumped up to 700,000 also. So it's actually not that far behind that one. But we're averaging like 2 million per second. We occasionally jump up to 14. I guess in a spot like right here, we could probably just put a park because that's really going to increase the value of those two, and therefore this one, which is up to 800,000. Now that we're up to almost 400 million, we're going to upgrade our investor, our most valuable unit. So that's going to take it from $2 every 3 cycles to $3 every 2 cycles. The next upgrades are going to get expensive, but we're also just going to upgrade every one of these we can for hundreds of millions of dollars. So we're looking at more like $3 million per second, occasionally 20 million. Investors cost $64 million each, so we'll still go ahead and buy a few because that's not that much money to us. I think at this point I'm actually going to remove a park because parks are good for an instant boost, but we need more investment. This one's at 45,000, but I'm going to put the overclocker here, and that's going to help beat this one big value, and the overclocker is going to make sure every 5 cycles it's going to run 10 cycles at once, which is going to increase its own value. So this one's up to 500,000. That put this up to 5.9 million. So we should probably do the same, $200 million to upgrade our most valuable ones. That jumped up to 10 million. So $200 million investments all around. So this one now does 17 million, and occasionally it'll go off 10 times. So our earnings are 30 million base. So we're coming up on $1 billion pretty routinely shortly here. That'll feel good. Well, we usually made $2 billion. The investor's next upgrade is 300 billion, but that's the real big upgrade. I also sort of forgot that these guys could be upgraded for only 1.6 billion. Sums the production of all factory tiles, multiplies production by 15. So it's currently producing 50.8 million. After that, it jumps up to 162 million. So they're both at 163 million, I think, because they're taking all the factories now. I'm also going to give a $20 billion upgrade to this one because it's 2.5 million. That put it up to 5 million, so that made both of those a lot bigger as well. So we'll do the same thing to all its runs. At least the ones we can afford right now, but that jumped up to $3.2 billion per second, but we're generally at about 600 million, so 2 seconds is enough to make well over $1 billion. And that means we can get the next upgrades fairly quickly, so our income is only going to go up and up and up. So also in the case of this one, that is at 5.4 million, we don't really need $1 every cycle because that's not really going to add much to it anymore, so we can take those two away. And we can add overclockers to either side of that, and as long as they're pointed at that thing, now what they're going to do is every 5 cycles make the targeted tile run 10 cycles at once. So that's just going to add, well, it's going to make it worth a lot, but also its value is going to go up because the investors add value to it every cycle. Or at least they currently add $3 every 2 cycles, but that's going to get bigger quicker. So this lonely thing over here is going to get up to a $20 billion upgrade. It's now with 4.5 million by itself. This one over here, same deal. So that puts either of our factories up to 600 million. So we have $1.2 billion base earnings. I'm actually going to remove all the accelerators at this point because they're probably redundant if I'm understanding this all correctly. We use overclockers instead. We couldn't before because they're way too expensive, but now that we're stupidly rich, that's an easy choice. Now look at that money trickling in, $240 billion. A few minutes later, we're up to $400 billion, and that means we can afford the final level of the investor, 1% production to every factory every cycle. So these are just going to get really, really, really big. So at this point, we're also probably going to get rid of the parks because we could use investors. They're just going to be bigger. It's 30% instantly or 30% compoundingly over 30 seconds, or infinitely, really. $1 billion per second. The investors are costing $1 billion, now $2 billion, now $4 billion, so you get the idea. It's going to get expensive. But the only thing that's really going to affect us at this point are percentages. Dollar value amounts aren't really relevant anymore. There's also a very easy way to increase my income. This is 4.9 million, but if I trash it and add one of the, not one of those, one of these, and point it that way and upgrade this all the way up, it is going to be 714 million. I think it's probably worth it to do one more time because like this is only producing say 6.9 million, not really factoring into a whole lot. It will decrease the value of these somewhat, but if we had another one of these and upgrade it all the way, our earnings go up again. Now we have 4 of these with $900 million each, so 3.7 billion per second. And while I was being stupid, we easily saved up the $300 billion we need for the 1% per second thing. We're going to do the same with this other investor. I'm going to do the same thing again though. These are currently 2.3 billion times 4, so that's easy math. Then we're going to lay that one down and go all the way up, and now they're 2.7 billion times 5 actually, so yeah, they actually made up their own income in that time. So these investors are absolutely going to be worth the money. Okay, the money's getting so stupid at this point that we can basically insta-buy the $300 billion we need to upgrade them. Okay, we're easily into the trillions of dollars now, and the more of these we have, the stupider the money is going to get, and it's going to compound on itself, so it's just going to get endlessly bigger and bigger. So we're somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 trillion a second on average. I think the overclocker can also affect the investors, so instead of trying to increase the value of that thing, maybe we should be trying to increase the investor. Because if it has 1% production every 1 cycle, now every 5 cycles it's going to run 10 cycles, so it's going to be 10% increase fairly often. I don't know if these affect the investors, but I'm going to give it a try. And the value is just going to, yeah, already we're at 10,000 trillion per second. And that number is starting to go bananas. So yeah, I think it works. We can increase the speed of the investors, and it's good that we did. Normally it takes considerably more time to break the game. So that number's getting pretty big. And it turns out this whole time there was a fast speed button. I could have been doing this much, much faster. But whatever the case, this thing started to turn into NANT, which has got to be a pretty big number. So we can spend $10 trillion to buy the box, send to the next player, and end the game. Okay, done.